Hi, my name is Jim Elfline and I'm the owner of Keyrenter Premier Property Management. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about renting versus selling your home. There are a lot of factors to consider when it comes to this. How much is your current mortgage? What are your carrying costs? What is the value of your home if you went to sell it? What is the rent value of your home if you were going to rent it? And there's also a lot of tax implications. But really when you boil it down, it comes down to what are your short-term needs and what are your long-term financial goals. In some cases, selling versus renting is pretty easy. If you need the equity in your home to buy a bigger house, go ahead and sell. And actually, you're probably not even watching this video if you're considering that. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is considering your long-term financial investment of the home. So let's start at the condition of the house. Now, if you're looking at selling the home and it's been some time since you've done some upgrades and updates to the home and it's looking a little dated, you may have to invest some money into that, into a new kitchen, new bathroom, whatever it may be, where you might not have the cash to make the necessary upgrades to get the highest value for your home if you went to market. First of all, let's talk about the condition of your home. If it has been some time since you've done any upgrades or any work to your house, and everything's looking a little dated, if it's looking a little 90s-ish, and you go to market, you may not be getting the top value for your home. So, on the other hand, renters usually will be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to those high-end upgrades, and they'd be willing to accept a rental property that is looking a little bit more dated. The reason why I bring this up is if you don't have the necessary cash on hand to complete those upgrades with the granite countertops and stainless steel appliances or new hardwood floors, you might want to look at renting the property for the time being just to build up that cash and continue that money coming in the long run. So giving you an opportunity to build up that cash flow so you can make those upgrades down the road to ultimately sell it. Another thing to consider is you might be relocating because of a job. And you're considering coming back to the state. So this might be a temporary basis where you're there for a year or 3 years, but you're not quite sure what to do with your current home. If you go ahead and sell it, you have to pay commissions, you have to pay sales tax. There's a lot of fees for a temporary sale. However, if you look at renting, one of the good things is that to keep in mind is that you have up to 3 years without having to pay any capital gains on an investment property. So you could turn that into a rental for a few years as you decide on what to do with the house. That way you can get cash flow to offset your mortgage or any other expenses you have and find a place where you're relocating to make it a little bit more comfortable. And that might take off a little bit of the stress of moving to another state as you relocate for another job. Another thing to consider is, can you get enough rent out of the property to cover your current carrying costs? Would the rent cover the mortgage? Would the rent cover your HOA fee if you have one? And any other expenses that you may have? If it can, then you have somebody else paying your bills for you in the long run and ensuring that that property is maintaining and growing in value. And if you own the property free and clear, it's cash. You're getting a positive amount of cash flow out of that rental property. So it does make a lot of sense. If rent doesn't quite meet those standards, then you might want to consider selling the property because you don't want negative cash flow coming out of that property. So the final thing to consider is, how do you feel about being a landlord? You have to understand that this is an investment property, that it's a house. It's going to have expenses no matter who's living there, whether you're living there or if you're going to have renters living there. You must understand that you have to have cash set aside to offset expenses that are going to come up. A roof may be leaking, your AC may go out, a refrigerator might break down. These things happen in a home regardless of who's living there. So are you prepared financially and mentally to be a landlord? And this is where we can come in as a property management company to really help you out and plan through that process. One of the things that we can provide to you as well is a 10-year cash flow analysis. So if you're looking at selling versus renting your home, give us a call and we can help you walk through that process and identify your cost, how much rent you could be getting out of it, and try to find out what your long-term financial strategy can be and if renting your home makes sense to meet those financial goals. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Jim Elfline and I'm the owner of Keyrenter Premier Property Management.